morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Lori, the badass Buddha, coming to you live from Chucky, Tennessee, where the weather is 41 degrees out, but it is sunny and it is supposed to go up to, I think, about the low to mid 70s today. So, good
Wow.
morning, everyone. We're
Wow.
having
Hello.
lighting issues. We're
I'm
having both
having
of us.
technical difficulties. Un momento, por favore. All right.
Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, my sister, Leanne.
So it's going to be 41.
It is 41 right now. It's going to be 70, like low to mid 70s, I think.
Oh, me cago en nada. Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru, broadcasting from Tampa, Florida. I've been back, this is 2 weeks now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's supposed to be, I want to say, 80 something today. So yeah, I'm so over it. Good morning, Kathy, Leanne. Yes, so here we are broadcasting, trying to get it right with Jesus and holding my face lamp.
Oh my God, you're holding the lamp as
Well,
you.
until I can figure out how to get
Oh
it
my
to not.
gosh.
You know what? Because you remember my computer died in Connecticut, so I'm using my niece's, newly updated iMac, and it doesn't have the side plugs. They did away with the CDs going in and all that. Well, these new ones only have the one spot to put in the charging port. That's it.
Yeah, I
So I
know.
had to put this lamp that I normally would plug into the laptop into the wall, and it's very minimal. It's all, you know what? It's a very challenging morning, but if anybody ever watched The Green Mile, I watched it several times. Beautiful story with Tom Hanks, and I don't know the guy's name. But my favorite part always was when they would have the one inmate do the practice walk to the electric chair. And he would be walking saying, "Gotta get it right with Jesus." And I thought that was like something we should always be remembering in the back of our minds. Good morning, Madeline. Buenos dias.
Good
So
morning,
yes,
Madeline.
I always thought that was funny. There's certain parts in movies that other people like, you're so stupid. How do you pick up on that? It's just the little insignificant things that I like.
Well, I don't think that was insignificant. But I'm
Well,
like, oh,
according to all the miracle happenings and everything else that happened in the movie,
oh, in that movie, that's the one that you got.
that's
That's the
the
one that
one
you.
that I think was the most important. But yeah,
Oh, well, good morning, everyone. We hope you had an absolutely lovely weekend. We're wrapping up. I mean, this is the last full week of October. We will have a Tuesday in October. And I can't find my little, oh no, here's my cheat sheet. So this week, again, remember, October's been a review and reset. That has been the focus of this month. Review, reset, review, commit, and recommit. Not reset. Review, commit, and recommit. And we've talked about I am. So we were talking about awareness for the first week. We were talking about I know, acknowledgement for the second week. Last week we talked about acceptance with I have become. And this week we're talking about accountability with I own. And this is a really big one because I think the biggest problem in this world today is the lack of accountability. People not taking responsibility for their shit. And I mean, I include myself in that. But I have been working on accountability for years. I'm very proud about the fact that I'm very good about owning my stuff. I have no problem admitting stuff like that. But when you look around and you see how few people always, it's always an excuse. And there are worthy excuses out there. It's not like saying there's no excuses out there. If you're late for something and your car broke down, that's an excuse. I mean, legit. But it's when we go deeper. We're not talking about the light-hearted things. We're talking about the deeper stuff. And this is again about owning your truth, living your truth, walking your truth, being who you are. And it means that you have to own all of it, the good and the crappy. And being accountable to yourself is really all you need to be. I mean, it does affect other people. Sometimes you have to apologize. Sometimes you have to make things right. But in the end, it's about being accountable to self. And the interesting thing is that not being accountable to self, not being accountable for choices that one has made, good or bad. We're always good about taking accountability for the good choices, but not the poor choices that we've made. But it's about being courageous, because it takes a lot of courage to be accountable. And that's the one thing that I have learned over the years, is the fact that people who are tend to be, okay, I'm not, I don't want to generalize, but people overall who have lack of accountability are also categorically cowards. They tend to fall into that place of not being courageous, because it takes a lot of courage to admit when you've done something that you shouldn't have, or that you made a really bad choice, and especially when it's affected other people. And so the goal is to talk about what you own. What do you own in your life now? What are you accountable for? Good morning, Sarah Titer is in the house. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Madeline, thank you. It's from Necessities 101 by Bridget Williams. She's usually on the show with us, my necklace. Look her up, necessities101.com. My rings, I made them. This was the era, and I found them. I was going through some stuff. These were rings that I would make and sell when my husband was with the ALS. They're wire rings. And I found this one. This is like a bead. I don't know if you can see it good, but yeah, that one there. And then this one, look, I still have one of my tags on it. Don't ask me what it says. Oh, $7, I think, when I had a fair. But yeah, thank you. I figured I'd wear them. If not, I'd throw them out. You know, you brought up something that I was thinking about this weekend. I was in Spring Hill at my daughter's house, and I was confronting myself about my accountability, because we tend to get so wrapped up, and we're twisted up like a salty pretzel. It's all on our own, and we're trying to figure it out. And then yesterday, as I'm sorting through tons of paperwork that I don't even know why I keep every scrap of paper, but it's so liberating to be able to fill up a trash bag. And I still haven't let go of that blessing curse where I got this. I'll take care of it. So last week I was going through something, and decisions, and just a whole gambit of shit. And lack of sleep, headaches, waking up with severe headaches. And it was, why did I just close up and deal with it? Like, the vulnerability piece for me, if we're gonna be honest, it's still difficult for me. And so it really made me sick physically, is what I'm saying. So we do, to be unapologetically courageous, to walk that walk, it's with the knowing that you're gonna fall. But when you do get up, there's a but. You're gonna fall, but you also get up. And it's about saying, oh my God, didn't I throw these stones like a mile back? Didn't I throw all this in while I was planning? Because we do that with that butt and everything. And so I got myself into something totally out of my hands, but it was something that I allowed I committed to not recommitting in that moment and taking care of myself. And when I tell you that it physically made me sick, it made me sick. So, because, You mentioned October and how is it really the last Tuesday? We only
No,
have one more Tuesday.
no, we have one more Tuesday. It's the last full week for Viva.
But look at that. I remember just starting Tuesday. I mean, just starting October. Or is it just me? Because both you and I have had a lot going. You're
Sorry about that.
you're
Nothing like
human.
burping on camera.
That's fine. Um, we both had a lot going on. Let's just put this month, right?
Yeah,
This
this was a
October,
crazy
we had
month.
a lot. We had a lot of decisions to make. We had a lot of decisions we were forced to make. We had a lot of movement, and none of it was for that we wanted. It was just that we needed. But October is my favorite burr. You got September, October, November, December.
November's not. That's your birthday.
It's my birthday, but it's so overrated and commercialized with Thanksgiving, and it just takes just everything away from me. And October, because it's the beginning of the end of the seasons. It's the beginning of fall, the beginning of autumn before we fall into winter. How's that?
Yeah.
And that's when you see the natural changes of Mother Nature. That's when you not only do you feel it in certain regions. I don't feel shit here in Florida, but you feel it and you see it and you smell it. There's a different crisp smell in the ear. And if you're up north, you know what? Just go outside for a little bit, whether tonight when the sun is setting or tomorrow morning, and just smell the difference because it is. So it's the most courageous. It's the autumn of changes. Is the leader of change actually, because summer's ending and fall's like autumn's like, okay, I'm coming in, and then it tells winter, ready or not, I'm falling into you. And then winter is going to be like, what's up? And then it might forget when it's time to introduce spring, but it always happens. But the thing is, they have their way of knowing what is their purpose in life. We're talking about leaves falling to fertilize those trees during the winter months. I mean, if you really take time out to look at it. And October to me is because why is it then? It is the month of breast cancer awareness and
Domestic violence awareness.
domestic violence. It is the birth month of many people in my direct family. So it's life. It's that churning, not turning, that churning of life will have changes. So put your big panties on it. Let's face it. And I think that's what the reveal, commit, and recommit is. Okay, things are happening, and I either got to roll with it or I got to sit my ass down in the corner, which it's gonna be. And that's your commitment to yourself or your recommitment. If you fell off the wagon, it's time. Come on, we still got what do you say, half a week or a week? I
One
keep
week
reading
and
my
a
numbers
half.
straight.
A week and a half.
There you go. It's been a big month. It has been. Oh, Tiffany Bryan's on. Look at Madeline. I'll send you the rings, or when I go back to Connecticut.
Yeah, she said she has $7. She's ready to go. I'll tell you though, accountability. So think about this for yourself. What is it that you own about yourself? What is it that the good and the bad, or the good and the challenge? I mean, however way you want to look at it. And because here's the thing, we know that it's just a word. People sometimes like say, oh, I don't like to say the word bad, like say challenge. Semantics, truly. It's the belief that you have behind the word. And even if you say, oh, I had a bad week, oh, don't say you had a bad week. Say you had a challenging week, whatever. I had a freaking challenging week, bad week, whatever. The point is that what do you do with that information? So if you say I have a bad week, do you say, I had a bad week, but this is what I learned? And guess what? It's not really a bad week anymore, right? But it's okay for me to say that if I know what it really means. So if I make a bad choice or a poor choice and I own it, it becomes something that I've learned from. And then, well, hopefully, and then I do better the next time. It's just like the quote from Maya Angelou: do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better. And even if you've repeated over and over again, the same bad choice. You haven't, and maybe you did learn, but you can't seem to break it. That's the key. That's the key, is to say to yourself, all right, I know this isn't a good choice, but I can't seem to stop. So then the question comes into play is, why can't I stop? Is this a habit? Why am I attached to this? This is why the commit and recommit is important. It's to review, commit, and recommit. And so you say, okay, I'm the one that's responsible here. I'm the one that has to be accountable. I can only be accountable to myself. And I got to say, it's interesting, accountability. When you think of, at least when I think of accountability, I think of the 12 steps. When somebody's alcoholic or somebody's in substance abuse, they have the 12th step. And I think that's the 12th step, right? That's the last step. I could be wrong, but if I'm wrong, I apologize. But whatever it is, it's the step where you basically have to make amends. You have to go back to people and take responsibility for the things that you did while you were under the influence, And that is, I have to say, that really, really very courageous for people to do that when they have been on something. Because substance abuse, when you're on a substance, you're really not, the chemical is controlling you, but yet you still affected people, and you're taking ownership of the fact that you did take that substance, and that substance changed you, and you made poor choices, and it affected other people. Because the thing is, with accountability, you have to be accountable to yourself for changes, for those poor choices. Not everybody around you is going to be willing to accept your accountability. Either they're going to fight it because they don't want you to change, or they're going to put it in your face, or then there'll be some that'll say, thank you, I appreciate what you said. But you have to this is about you making yourself better. So sometimes it means not, we're not in the 12-step program. You don't have to go up to every person that you wronged and apologize. You have to make amends based on what you can do. So sometimes, I don't know, going back to, like, let's say parents or something like that, or somebody that you feel like you've wronged and you want to apologize, but they're hardcore to where they're not going to accept your apology, or it's going to open the door up to bring up more stuff. You have to either be willing to accept that, or don't apologize to them. Find another way to let go of that for yourself, to be accountable. Maybe that means paying it forward to somebody else. If maybe the person passed away, maybe there was somebody that you made a bad choice with, or a decision, and the person has long passed away. How do you become accountable to that? Well, you become accountable because you become accountable to the situation. And then maybe that means making amends by helping somebody else, or creating a positive situation from that, And so it's not meant, being accountable for yourself is not meant for you to feel guilty or shame about anything that you've done or choices that you've made. It's about saying, I know I made this choice and it wasn't a great choice. So what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do? What did I learn from this? And what am I going to do to move forward from this? And so owning it, but don't worry. I mean, I keep focusing on the bad stuff, but own the good stuff too. Hey, I'm taking accountability for the choices that I made that got me to where I am now. And I'm very happy about that, because it got me here. I could guilt myself to the ends of the earth about how long it took me to get to where I am right now, out of my environment. It took me 7 years to get out of my environment. And I still had people in my life that I really didn't want in my immediate, as part of my everyday. It took me 7 years, but you know what? I'm out. Like I'm out, and now I'm on that next real big chapter of my life. I've officially started a new chapter, and things have already been going really, really well, because I'm willing to take accountability. It took me 7 years. Why did it take me 7 years? I'm still working through that. But the why isn't necessarily important, because it's past. It's done already. Now, what do I do with that information? What do I do with I own this? Okay, so it took me this long. What did I learn in those 7 years, and how can I apply it to my current, my present? Good morning,
Question.
Jonathan. Jonathan Pookie Cruz is in the house.
Hello, and then we'll read Kathy and
And
I'm
Evelyn, good
hi
morning.
Evelyn. Question. You say about your accounting now. When that emotion comes to you again, because it's a memory and it might come back. Um, how do you go from feeling it without accusing, reliving the moment, and being mad at the person who made you feel that 7 years ago? Like when we hold ourselves accountable, it comes to the point where it's now no longer about the other person, or is it? Like when those memories come up, when you watch a movie that resembles something of what you went through, and you do, we're human, we're going to be upset, we're going to get emotional, but at that moment, once you begin holding yourself accountable and showing up for yourself in real time, because you're no longer there, right? You said the why's already in the past. Do the emotions still come up of being angry with a person or resenting them? Is the accountability totally up to you? Because right now it's 7 years later, that person already did what they did, they already hurt what they hurt, they already abused what they abused, and you're the one reliving the moment. So who is accountable to that remembered pain?
Me. Wouldn't
So
it be me? It would be
yeah,
me.
yes, but what I'm saying is when we get to that I'm accountable stage, like, so we should not, how do I say that? Because we talked a lot about growth and owning our shit and walking in our truth and realizing that we are who we are because sometimes what we because of what we went through. And I've been reading a lot lately, and you know what, forgive me if there's any I don't even know what to call them. I'm Generation X. I'm that fuck you type of childhood. But when they want the sensitivity, the unaccountability part, we have to hold ourselves um so above water level, because we're no longer drowning in that pain. We're no longer drowning in that betrayal. You know, I like I said, I was going through paperwork yesterday, and I found so much stuff, and I threw out so many. I forgot that I had written like 20 pages into something, and I threw it out because fuck, I know what my past is. I don't have to talk about my trauma childhood. I don't need to talk about this. It happened. That
Yeah,
is
it's no
so
longer the
not a part of
story.
me anymore.
Yes.
When I do talk about my molestation and rape episodes, I never speak about it with emotion. So why talk about it at all? I'm just one of many who has suffered that type of childhood. One of many. And maybe one day we should have a big group thing to talk about how it grew. But in today's society, there's people online saying, don't believe that you are strong because of what you went through. That's bullshit. What I went through caused me severe trauma. And I'm like, who is just like, they just coming up with so much stuff now. I am strong because I grew up with addictive parents. I am strong because my mother, in my eyes, was always weak. Maybe I went to the other side of the spectrum. So I have to hold myself accountable for being what we say up north, get the fuck out of here type of attitude. Somebody says, you just said something, it offended me. Get the fuck out of here, then go figure it out. Because who has time for that? Like Lori, you said something and I wanted to ask you, I wrote it. And now where the hell I wrote it? You said something about semantics. And I wanted to ask you from your perspective, like, who does the semantics of saying the things correctly serve? You, like, when you said people say, "Oh, don't say that." Fuck out of here, Jonathan. That's what I wanted to say. Just the FOH. My ex-husband's from Brooklyn, so he was like, "Fuck out of here." Um, so like you're right. Oh, you shouldn't say that. And you said it's semantic. People are like, oh no, don't speak like that. We try to tell you, use positive affirmations. You do this because it's for you, not for me. You can say however you want. We're just telling you sometimes when you don't drink the third glass of wine, you won't feel so super drunk, right? That's all. That's what we say on Viva, you know. But you're right. And some people can't take it. Like I'm gonna give you a for instance. And then she told me, shut up. You always, I can't even say nothing without you saying something back. And then I just sat back and I was like, then don't. And then I was going to argue my case because that's just my demeanor. And then I was like, no. But my niece says yesterday, I'm so mad that I fell asleep and I have tomorrow off. Like I should have stood up and, So we go outside. I went to have a cigarette. And she's like, I'm so mad. I can't believe I fell asleep. I said, but you did it on purpose. Like, because I didn't want to hear no more. Because my truth and her truth were clashing at that moment. Because I got up, I went to the kitchen to make coffee. And she was all cuddled up under her quilt. It was like 7:00 in the evening. So I said, oh, she must have been tired or she got a headache, right? Man, it's not my business. So she's telling me now that she's mad. She didn't want to go to sleep because today's her day off. I hope she's listening in. Stephanie, if you're watching, I love you. Thank you for the little what is it called here? Like if we're on SNL, the little
moment.
So I said, but you did it on purpose. She goes, no, I didn't. I said, you had to have gotten up from somewhere, walked into your bedroom, got cozied up under your pretty white quilt, and fell asleep. That's on purpose. That accident is if you fall asleep on the couch. Am I correct or was I wrong?
No, you're right.
She goes, well, I did fall asleep on the couch, but I shouldn't have got up and went to the bed. I said, then you shouldn't be mad. And then you shouldn't be telling me that you're mad over something you did on purpose because it's got to be a discussion. You see? And then she's like, oh, you always got something to say. You know what? What can I tell you? That's exactly who I am. Because I don't want to hear you're mad, especially we're in each other's space. I'm so mad. And then you're really frustrated. And that is the accountability people don't want. And I'm using her because she's cool with it. She'll probably just tell me, Dee.
Yeah, Stephanie's fantastic.
But I say this because we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of claiming to feel a certain kind of way, removing ourselves from the choices we made. So it's like, even in that moment, whether we just wanted to say something or because it felt good, like I'm just not even going to blame myself for this shit, then don't say nothing. We are all going to go through peaks and valleys. But are you willing to, at the end of the day, wrap it up before you clock out? Are you going to wrap it up, add up the hours that you did good, that you were productive in your life, and be very sincere? Don't be trying to cheat nobody out of no hours because it's only taking time out of your existence. Every time we don't fulfill what we need to do, we are, that what is it called? With the sand in it, it's always running.
Hourglass.
It's always running. So what, are you going to cheat that? So I think holding yourself accountable is just being present and saying, oh my God, I fucked up.
Can I, ooh, I hit the wrong button. Can I just say something that show something? Okay, so Madeline wrote, hello. It's interesting that some people get mad at themselves for resting their, oh no, not that one. Here it is. If people aren't able to see past their own experiences or BS because it's comfortable for them, then that's fine. And you know what? You are absolutely right. In fact, Madeline, that's a mindfulness practice. Is everybody has their own path and they need to live it as such. And when we put our opinions on how they're living their lives, it's just distracting from our own paths. And I'm going to tell you that that for me was a very bitter accountability piece to swallow. That was a very bitter pill for me to swallow, because I had to take ownership of me looking at the people around me and what they were doing wrong and not taking accountability for it. And it distracted me from dealing with my own stuff. And then I had to take accountability for that. And that right there was probably the most important factor in me physically moving from where I was, because I was so distracted by, I allowed myself to be distracted
What
by
they did.
the other people that were doing this or doing that, and not doing this and not doing that, and then not taking accountability. And I realized that I wasted about 2 years on that. Actually probably three. No, it was almost 4 years on this I was wasting. It started around 2019, and then but it really, I wasn't really, I was focused a little bit, but then 2021 it became worse. And so I had to take ownership for that. And that ended up, so now we're looking, if I'm going to go back to 2019, now I'm looking at 4 years of really not progressing because of my own choices, because I was so worried about what other people were doing. And that's part of what I'm looking to move forward with. Like for me, is what I want to take ownership of now is letting that go and not really giving an F about anybody, because it's not my business. It's not a question of whether I think they're right or wrong, because we can have an opinion. We're human. That's the way we are. But it doesn't matter if I think they're right or wrong. I want to get to a place where that's their choice, and as long as it doesn't affect me directly, then I have nothing to say about it. I have no right to interfere with it. If it affects me directly, then I have the right to say something. But if it doesn't affect me directly, then I don't. And that right there, I cannot wait to fully let go of that piece. I've already feel it's happening, and I can't wait. And that's why I'm so looking forward to this year, these last 3 months of the year. When we decided to set all these in place, like we had said before, we set this year into play, not just because we wanted to do this for all of you for our tribe, but we also recognize the fact that we had to do this for ourselves. So everything that we've talked about was a reminder to ourselves of who we are. And then having to come back in the end and review it all, because reviewing it all makes us check in with ourselves, because we want 2024 to be a phenomenal year, to let go of a lot of pieces that we've clung to. And believe me, there's a lot of stuff that both Gladiator Guru have held on to in 2023, and we are purging. And they will be purged by December, by the end of December. There's no way in hell that they won't be purged by the end of December. There's going to be so much change between now and the end of the year. And so we need to check in with ourselves. And it helps because we have all of you, the tribe, putting in your wisdom, your insight. I mean, Kathy, Madeline, Jonathan pops on, and he always has words of wisdom. Desiree, Evelyn, my sister, like everybody that's coming on, Tiffany, everybody, Milagros. We haven't seen Milagros yet, but Milagros always has stuff. All of you, because it further, like, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives us that extra boost to keep moving forward, to say, you know what, I got this. When I'm feeling kind of low and I'm questioning myself, or I'm tired, it's not just physically, emotionally tired. Okay, you know what? We're picking ourselves up. We're all walking together on the path. We have a tribe. That's the beauty of a tribe. And we're reminding each other gently, sometimes not so gently. Snap out of it. Wake up. Come on, get up. You could do this. Get up. Get the hell off the ground and get up. And we can do this together.
Mm-hmm. But you got to want it.
Yes.
You got to want it. You got to stop anchoring your feelings, your emotions and what happened and who did it to you.
Yes.
When you remove the anchor of that, then it no longer has a hold on you.
Yes.
You know what? We've all been hurt. That's how I started. I found so much that I had written and trying to describe myself. And, trauma of any kind in our past, it was a season. I don't care how long it lasted. One of the mines lasted from the age of 6 to 14. But I look at it as a season. You know why? Because I'm not there no more. It's just a glance backwards and it all comes together. So why am I going to look at it as years of trauma? You know what? It was trauma. No matter what it is. You know what's the difference of whatever trauma we suffered? We're no longer there and we're here and we're able to say, oh my God, when I was back then, if let me tell you a story, that means it's past tense.
Yes.
Talk to me about your goals. Talk to me. Don't even tell me what you're gonna do. Just tell me you have vision. Oh, I have vision. I set some goals into plans, and I'm gonna say, you know what? Enhorabuena. I don't need to know what your plans are to congratulate you. I don't need to know what your goals are in order for me to be your cheerleader. You just got to be on a roll going forward. You know, I did find something, and it's good because I wrote it in October of last year, but it's where the wind swept through. And I think we can all relate. It's because I was led to a space in my life where I was guided into a lifestyle of sit and relax. And I think Kathy mentioned that up there. Confused, I labeled it my seasonal sadness. See, now what's the word you use? Semantics would tell me, no, you should have just said you were just going through something. And she's right. And that's why I think that word that you mentioned, and I've heard it all the time, but I don't use it. So I thought that was cute because I had already taken this out to read. This only helped me in delaying the understanding of the lesson being taught. I wrote this last October while I was in the end part of, I'll mention it in the middle, of the lesson being taught. I say delay simply because I needed to sit. What I considered a lost time was actually a rebirthing of knowledge. And out with the old and in with the truth. Now I self-I that's all I wrote, but I thought it was like good for this because sometimes Kathy wrote it up there, and I learned that Kathy, I think the badass Buddha and I had a conversation about that. In entrepreneurship, people tell you you have to be team no sleep. Entrepreneurs don't sleep, they work. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. First of all, me and sleep are best friends whenever I get a chance to meet up with it because I suffer from insomnia. But I learned, and I believe the badass Buddha and I had conversations a couple of months where it's okay to sit down and do nothing. Just don't make
Yeah.
it a habit. But we have become so groomed into Netflix and chill that it's hard, right? To just watch a movie and then get up and start working. Because then something else comes up. And
Well, we've
so,
also been very groomed into thinking we have to keep going, going, going. And
yeah,
there's some sort of guilt that connects to it. And
because it's not a lost time when you
yeah,
sit in your peace. Because, see, that's what I didn't write. But it's when you sit, when you choose, it's time for me to sit my ass down. You're actually sitting, your body's relaxing, and you're in your peace. You're in like all of a sudden a wall, octagon glass wall comes through. You can see everything around you, but you're in that comfort space. And so what I used to consider as lost time, like I gotta be doing this, and then I'm doing so much that I end up at the end of the day doing shit because I put my hands in so many projects that none of them were complete. Okay, so it's actually a rebirthing of knowledge. When you sit, your mind relaxes as well, not only your body. And when your mind relaxes, you can compartmentalize the different thoughts that you are having, the different memories that keep trying to push forward to disrupt the plans that you have, right?
yes,
So you have to sit in your peace and invite that power back that only you can possess. My sister cannot, my mother did not. My daughter will not, because it is mine. And when you find yourself to be brave enough to own that shit and believe that you were born on purpose for a purpose, you won't consider your life to have been a waste. You won't consider yourself to have been a victim. You will believe that everything you went through is everything you had to go through, because everybody has a different story to tell.
Yes.
Just because somebody was born with a silver spoon in their mouth does not make them better than me, because they went to all these private better schools, and good for them, because everybody's born into their purpose. I, on the other hand, went through the school of hard knocks. So you put us both in the jungle, I believe I'm going to survive better than anybody. Okay. So it's about what you value in yourself, that you're going to sharpen those tools and just have them sitting on ready. But you can't do that if you're flustered, if your brain is all mush, and then you learn that you're becoming this sensitive person, that everything bothers you. Tighten up. At the end of the day, you got to tighten up for you, so that your boundaries stay firm and no one can come in and poke their finger in your thread and create a knot in your life. Why? Because you're not giving anybody that power over you. So when you're busy, and we're all entrepreneurs, we all got something, always doing something. Okay. I'm always doing something, and I do too much, because I'll do this and I'll do that. And then I'm like, oh, okay, let me go on to something else. No, honey, sit your ass down and finish doing what you're doing. It's like I showed everybody all my naturally orgasmic, what are these coasters? And I have a whole stack of them, and I just use them for other stuff. But you know what? Sleep. Be good to your body, so that it can encourage your mind, and your thoughts will flow to bring an abundance to the life that you were born into. And don't blame your mama, your papa, your husband, or your wife, or your exes as to why you're where you're at. Because the reason that you suffered with them is the reason you are where you're at. Because they lit those firecrackers up your ass and made you realize who you were, what you will and will not tolerate. Why don't we look at our past like that and not stop pointing fingers at blame? I found a letter in my mess written in 1998 of my mother asking me to forgive her. Why did I tuck that letter away for so long?
Wow.
Okay.
But
1998.
and
Please
when
forgive
you
me, Margie. She wrote
oh,
it several times.
and at that point when you got that letter, I'm assuming you kept it, but you weren't
I
still
kept it all since 1990. I was still
well,
with my
but you weren't
ex.
there though, right? You weren't there for her. Like you weren't there for that to accept that forgiveness at
No,
that
no,
point.
no, because something had happened the year before. But what I'm saying is, it brought me peace, because we're going through that. And if anybody owns my Soul Searching for Peace book, I talk about grief and forgiveness, and I talk about that grief will always be in your back pocket until your last breath. Because what is it's grief. It's something we're going to carry. It's like a memory. We're always going to miss somebody. We're always going to long for something, for someone. It's all about people. So if people in your life have passed away, you're always going to have that longing for them. So that's always going to be in your back pocket. But it doesn't mean it has to be front row and center. It's not VIP in your life. But sometimes we need those very sensitive reminders of loss in order to remember not to give up. Because you know what, we are where we are. A lot of sacrifices were made by other people for us to exist, and then to work hard. And sometimes, like I said, people nowadays don't agree. Just like people think that the ego should be killed. um just love yourself. Just, you know what, and the badass Buddha does a beautiful breathing technique. And you know what, my laptop died back in Connecticut. I'm borrowing my niece, so it's a little clusterfuck for me this morning. But I really wanted to start with her breathing technique. I love the way the sun's coming in through your window, Laura. But everybody take a moment and just embrace yourself. Just embrace yourself. You can do it hard. You could be like, oh, I love bear hugs. I haven't had a nice manly bear hug in a
Even
while.
stretch.
Maybe that's what's missing in my life right now. But yeah, hug yourself. Remind yourself. Just touch yourself. Listen, look, you're real. Look, I am real. What the hell am I complaining? Who invited me? Where? Who didn't? Who did this? Who didn't do that? Who hurt me? Who didn't hurt me? Look, you can't break me. I'm unbreakable because I matter. And that's what we got to do. Recommit to yourself. It don't matter that if you reach where you pretend it to be. Because if you do believe in God, he says, to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So all you got to do is pray that you are on the right path. Pray for clarity and direction, so that when you're having a hard time, should I go this way? Should I go that way? Whether it's a job, whether it's to travel somewhere, just sit down and pray. And then rise in the morning and stay quiet, sit in your peace and get your answers. So it's really up to you what you decide to do. When you decide, look at, I've been writing so much. I'm sorry, Laura. When you decide to commit and recommit to yourself, ask yourself those hard questions like the badass Buddha said. Sit with yourself. Embarrass yourself by speaking your truth. Because when we sit in front of that mirror, or we sit with that pen in hand, and we point it to the paper and we start writing the truth about our behaviors, about our thought process, our accusatory mindset, they're always looking at me. Embarrass yourself? Because it ends and begins with you. So nobody can hurt you unless you allowed it. You trusted them and they fucked you over. First time, their fault. Bye. And then if it happened over and over again, forgive yourself at this point. First time, it's their fault. Second time, and any time after that, it is yours. And if you're past that and you're looking back and all you're remembering is the first time, not that you constantly forgave or put your blinders on, forgive yourself. Embarrass yourself with your truths before you can close that door and start on something else. Because if not, you're never going to accomplish what you were born to be, because you're going to be stuck in just poison that you created. I could be your biggest enemy and I still can't reach my poison to you. You are poisoning yourself by reliving a moment because you secretly want to be the victim and you don't want to take accountability for your life. And I believe that in our lives, we have been there at some point. I don't know. We all have addictions. We got to wean ourselves off of it, whether it's people, places, and things.
We've had some really good comments, and Madeline. So I like what Evelyn says. I had to write a letter to myself for a class recently. I started over and over. It really was hard, but I got it done, and I can say, "Wow, I am a bad MFer." Now, see, that's what you're owning. I was talking a lot about owning the bad choices, the poor choices we've made, but let's own the good stuff. Let's own the stuff that we've learned. Madeline says, "I'm beginning to understand why I avoid the mirror so much. It's hard to see me. Redirection is a
motherfucker. That's
listen,
right. But looking,
redirection so is forgiveness.
Everything.
So is letting go. So is
always getting a new haircut and saying, "Oh my God, what did I do?"
There's so many MFers because it's not easy. I think it's what's his name? Oh my God, isn't that terrible? I can't remember. My favorite. I can't believe I can't remember his name.
Leche?
No, the older one, the black guy, the what's
Les
his name?
Brown.
Les Brown. Oh my God! So, and I Sorry, because I love Les Brown. Totally can't. Anyway, Les Brown would always say things like, life is simple, but it's not easy, and we make it difficult, but it is simple. And when we start to be honest with ourselves, that's what allows things to become simple. When
Yep.
somebody says, "Oh, life is so hard," well, it's what we make of it.
Life isn't hard.
When you and Gail's not on, and we got to check on Gail. We haven't seen Gail,
Yes. Prayers
so
for Gail.
but Gail talks about flow, and when you are life choices, sometimes when we go into a path, yeah, we got to climb the mountain, we've got to cross the river. It's not always easy. But what's interesting is when you're on the path that you are meant to be on, the path has a lot of easier paths. Like what's the word I'm looking like? It's like either the mountain is easier for you to climb because you have more stamina, or the river's easier to cross because you're swimming better, or there isn't a mountain or a river. It's like this beautiful hill and this windy little beautiful
Or
pathway,
it's the valley.
and it
Which is
flows. And that is the truth. It's the moment that we surrender and get on the path that we were meant to be on, life does become simple and things do get easier. But God has that way of just throwing stuff in there to say, well, I just want to make sure you're
just
awake.
to see if we're paying attention.
Exactly. And then we say, okay, thank you, because I know my strength. See, I own my power. I own my courage. I own that I can do this. I own my flexibility. These are the other pieces of this, is to say, I own the choices that I've made that led me here. I own what I did or did not do to get here. I own the fact that I'm not great, in a great financial state, or I own the fact that I built this empire myself, or I did it with somebody that I cared about. But it's, you own it, and you own the good and the bad, and then that frees you of holding on to the stuff that keeps you on that difficult life path. And it does, because life is, when you think about it, we complicate things so much more. Like if you're cluttered and you feel like overwhelmed, why is it that you're feeling that way? Remember we talked about that. We had a show about that, is decluttering. If you feel like you're closed in, look at your environment and say, what is my environment contributing to this? Because your environment is also represents you. It represents who you are at that moment in time in the past. And it could have been a person who was completely disconnected from self.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many years I stayed disconnected from myself, and I have to own that piece of it. And I could get pissed off all I want to, and did, but it serves me no purpose to stay pissed off about it, because it doesn't solve anything. All it does is keep me tethered to the past. And that's where I was, especially the last 2 years. I've been very angry, very miserable, and I'll own that. And I was that way because I refused to make certain decisions that needed to be made. And I own that too. And now I feel lighter already. And I feel like it's a lot easier to let go, because I don't care. I'm tired. And I catch myself. Sometimes I'll get on a conversation with my sister, or I'll be talking to my daughter, we'll be talking about some stuff in the past. And it's about an awareness to say, you know what, this isn't serving anything. It's not. It's talk about what happened, or what that person did, or what they didn't do, or situation. It means nothing. So what am I going to do about this? What did I learn from this? What can I take from this? And what's the solution? So I want to own the solution. I want to own, okay, if I'm going to mention this, I want to mention it one sentence and then say, okay, what's the solution behind this? Because
And
talking about what happened is not solving anything.
it doesn't. But there's many people, badass, that won't speak about it, but that's all they think about. So that's why they keep stirring up those emotions from the past. That's why they purposely ruin their days by allowing that yesterday to interrupt their today. So that's where we got to catch ourselves, because we're human and it's going to happen. And we're going to have those melancholic days. And sometimes when we are in that melancholic state of mind, we don't realize we didn't close the door. So all the negative emotions come in with it. So sometimes we have to accept what is and then celebrate that we were like, I didn't invite you in. Get out. Because it's going to happen and everything doesn't go according to plan. Madeline says, when you were talking about your favorite author, she wrote Paulo.
Yeah,
And
Paulo.
then she said, life conspires to create the most beautiful life for when you truly trust yourself. Yes.
Yes.
Then she says, we meet resistance when we aren't
Oh,
where we are
yeah.
supposed to be. Now,
Yes.
Madeline, let me give my opposite take on that. I believe in spiritual warfare. I believe that right now, in what's happening, the uncertainty in this world, there are more demons here than we are humans. I believe that, you know what keeps me in check? I'm going to say my faith. I believe it's my faith. Because when I'm doing shit, nothing happens. I have all the time in the world to be lazy. I have all the time in the world to choose to eat everything I don't need. Like everything presents itself when I'm not being productive in my life. When I wake up and say, fuck this, and I start, boom, I'm going to do this. I'm going to speak on this. I'm going to call this person today. I'm going to create this. Resistance starts showing up. And I take that as a spiritual warfare because that means I am on my path and I'm trying to get derailed because I'm on the lighted path, meaning my purposeful path. And then you start, you start going into, you were on a really pretty foresty path and then it turns into, you know, gravel. And then all of a sudden it's rocky and you're going to fall and all that. And it's like, do I go back? Because if I keep going forward, I might fall and get hurt. That's the distraction. That's the disruption in my life. So that's how I look at it. When like, let me see, I had a horrible headache all day Saturday. I mean, and I don't suffer headaches, but I've been getting them lately. But last week was a very difficult week for me. So Sunday, I'm at my daughter's, and everybody was doing their thing, and I wanted soup. I started not feeling good. My daughter didn't have soup, so I went to go check in the pantry. Ended up rearranging the whole pantry. No soup. Still didn't find no soup. So then I'm sitting there like with my third cup of green tea, right? And I'm sitting there in my pajamas. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I got the quilt on the couch and I'm watching her big screen TV. And I'm saying, what the fuck am I doing? My daughter left to her mother-in-law's house. My granddaughter is at a brunch, but she's coming back to do my nails because, Anaya's like really serious with nails. My grandson's in his room playing video games. I'm like, why am I here? But I was happy I was there because, I get to spend time with them individually. But I'm like, well, I'm not being productive in my life right now. And everything was just too easy. Like I really wanted soup because I wasn't feeling good, but I was satisfied with my third cup of green tea. Like, why am I just allowing this? So what I'm saying is that although Madeline, yes, sometimes we do that, but also remember that when you are not on your right on the path that you were born to be on or supposed to be on at this time in your life, things will go smooth because why remind you that you're supposed to be doing this, helping people, encouraging people, having your spirit bring light to other people. Because when we come together like that, it's because we're of the same spirit. We might have different thoughts. We might have handled things differently in the past. But when we show up every Tuesday and Thursday together, it is a blessing. Why? Because we all share the same light, which means we are all destined to do something. We're supposed to learn from one another. What did Kathy write? I didn't really think much about demons until earlier this year when it came to me that was a real thing and something I was struggling to understand. You can't blame the demons on everything, but let me tell you something. They play a mighty role. They're the ones, the temptation of the flesh.
Doesn't my background look like clouds?
The potato chips. Yeah, your background looks beautiful. I told you that earlier when the sun was on your face.
It's the light coming through the trees. And
Yes, it is exactly
at
that.
first I thought I hit a button. I'm like, did I put like a virtual background on of clouds?
No, and then when the sun was coming by, it was right on your face. You didn't hear
I
my
just
compliment?
I want to mention something, and I know we're at the end, but understand that you had to be on that couch. You needed to be in that space. You needed to be in your pajamas at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You had a week. And when you said to yourself, why am I doing this? Like it needed to be done. And I'm with Madeline. You know, Madeline said when life conspires to create, no, she said we meet resistance when we aren't where we're supposed to be. And then you counteracted that. And then she says, I believe that too. I believe both. I believe that you get on your path and you get less resistance. But if your path collides with what is going on right now, then you do meet resistance because the powers that be do not want that out there. Like I believe that Gladiator Guru has a spiritual energy that is higher than most people. And when you get into your space and start doing that, you meet a lot of resistance because that information, they don't want it to get out there. And but once you find that one path that you're going you're still in the process of getting on your path too, and once you get on there, you're going to be full force. Like it's going, the resistance might be there, but you're going to be slaying everything as you go because you're going to be able to have the strength and energy, and you're not going to necessarily sit on the couch because you're going to have all the energy that's available to you.
No, I
And
needed the couch.
huh?
Thank you, but I did need the couch. But when I realized, I shouldn't even say but. Please remove that from the report. I needed, you're absolutely right, badass. And I needed that couch because it lit the firecrackers up my ass. Because I became aware. Two things. I have put my body through so much stress all week. And you know what it was. Very big deal for a small task that was really a big deal. And so when I tell you I was twisted up like a salty pretzel, and then my body was just trying to unwind. So I did need the couch. I did need the solace. I needed to be somewhere different and
Yes.
alone. And when it hit me, I was like, what? I got up, I took a shower. I felt like I just had the best sex of my life. I was up, I was limber. I was like, what we're doing next? You know? So I believe that we meet resistance when we wake up to what we're supposed to be doing. Because then I couldn't find this, I didn't have that. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to drive home on fumes and a prayer because I couldn't find my cash in my purse. Do you know, as soon as I got home, I unzipped it. It was right there, like, hello. But I made it home because I have faith that everywhere I'm supposed to be, it's going to happen. There's going to be interruptions, but it's going to happen. So nobody was home when I left. And I'm looking at my gas gauge and I'm saying, okay, I knew I had to put gas when I left. Could not find the money. And I was like, you know what, Father God, be my pilot. I'll sit over here. Let's just do this. And I put some music on and I drove 45 minutes from Spring Hill to Tampa. And it's when I hit here, like it was the light came on for eat, but I did it. I was like, whatever happens, I'll just make a phone call. But what I'm saying is when you start to walk your path, you're going to get erasers up your foot. You didn't get it.
It wasn't the eraser, it was the pencil point. It was the pencil point.
And so, you're going to fall. You're going to get up. You're going to fall. You're going to get up. You're going to fall. Who gives a shit? Keep falling. Because when we fall, regardless the cause, we get up, we hold our heads up high, and we move forward. We learn after each mistakes. We learn to celebrate who we are, because who are we? You answer your own questions. but we are powerful, and for aside from Pookie, we're powerful women, and we shine bright, and we got to remember that. So go when you finish. I hope you all did the embracing yourselves, even if it was for 5 seconds. Just embrace yourself. It's the start of the morning. Embrace yourself, and then when you're done, if you have the opportunity, go look in the mirror and says, "You know what? I love you. Let's have a good day." Close the mirror, walk out the bathroom, do whatever. You said what you had to say. Don't sit there wondering, looking, oh, but look at I have a hair chin. Because we're all in our 50s. I know we all get the little hair.
And they pop out. They
Yeah,
pop
just like overnight. But you do you. Do you. We should have tools to help us get up, reading, walking, etc. Yes. The best thing I can do, Lori, can you give me 2 minutes? Not even 2 minutes. But I love the bumblebee story, and I don't think we either read it to ourselves enough or we listen to it enough. But Diana, absolutely, because you know what? The only tool we need to know, well, we knew. I wish somebody would wake me up and dress me and then push me out the door, because once I'm walking, I'm in love. It's very orgasmic for me to walk. It's the getting up, putting on my clothes, and walking out the door. Like, I would really love that. I would like 3 wake-up calls. You ready? Get up. Then the other one, you're dressed, and the other one, get the fuck out the house. Like, I need it like that. I need that rough love. But so this story is the bumblebee story. It's like, how can bumblebees fly? And please, if you see a bumblebee, don't swat it. Just walk away. Get out of its way. It's truly amazing, because aerodynamically, they shouldn't be able to fly, but they do. The bee's body is too big and too heavy for its wings. I guess no one ever told the bumblebee she couldn't, and she never says, I can't. Aren't we all capable of doing the impossible, even when the odds try to tell us something different? Let's keep reminding each other to be positive, have faith in ourselves to achieve what we need and desire, and most importantly, seek our passion and make it happen. And as the end of the show, fly away, our little bumblebee. Fly away and make it happen. And that's what we need. This was something, I was on somebody's talk show back a couple years ago. I'm telling you, I found so many treasures. And I taped that story down here, and and on the top, I didn't use it, but it was discovering the powerful woman inside of you. Yes, decree and declare. Yes, those prayers, I've been doing them, Diana Negron. So absolutely, and next time we could talk about it. I am so sorry if I hijacked today's show. Lori's illuminating. I mean, there's a glow around her. It just inspired me. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But you should snap a picture. What did Kathy say? There have been several essays and something related to these that happened. I was struggling with these. Someone said maybe it has nothing to do with you. Came to me that it was a demon. I hear others talking about demons. It sounded crazy. She is. Yeah, she is, right, Evelyn? Yes. You got to rebuke.
I picked a good spot in my room, I guess.
Yes. Kathy, you just got to rebuke. I don't know what's your spiritual background, your belief system, but every time I see a demon, I'm like, what do you want? Are you going to tell me what you want? I said, the name of Jesus, I rebuke you out. That's all I do. Then I go back to sleep like a baby. So yes, there are prayers. Yes, because Diana, I'm with you.
Look at Madeline. No, you didn't.
Yes, I do. But yeah, she did. She showed me her office setup, and she hasn't set up in it. Let me tell you, I can't wait until she sets it up, because she has a key piece of furniture in there that I instantly fell in love with. And I believe you had it in your office, right?
Yeah, I had it in my office downstairs, and
Yes.
now it's in my main part of my office. I think I'm going to paint it though. I don't like it black.
So I'm hoping when it's all set up, you will give us you would turn around your computer so we could all see it. Yes, Leanne, absolutely.
It's coming together. It's coming together. It's been a process, but it's I'm glad I have the time to put it together. I mean, and the irony is again, like, just because you're in the right place. I've applied for 3 jobs, 2 of which were not supposed to start until January. And in my head, prior to applying for any job out here, I said to myself, I'd really, really like to start at the first of the year because it gives me a chance to organize, get Charlotte settled in school, build up my business a little bit because I still wanted to build up my business and then eventually go back to that full time. But and the irony is that 2 of the jobs start in January. I mean, I haven't gotten the jobs. I'm just and then one of them starts like later in the year, and they're all like, oh yeah, when you get settled in, you just call, as soon as you get settled in, just email us, and then we'll set up an in-person interview, but an interview. And I'm thinking to myself, that's so great because that's exactly how I wanted it to be. So it gives me a chance to get everything settled in the way I want it. So.
But
But
that's so positive right now. So right now, everything you envisioned and prayed for, meditated for, it's really falling into place. So there's really nothing other than unboxing, organizing, and chilling
exactly.
before the hectic.
On the couch in my pajamas till 3 p.m. watching the big screen TV,
Yeah, that's
drinking
it.
my green tea and wanting soup.
That and I never got the soup to this day, but it's okay. We all have decisions to make in our lives, and when you have people who share your vision and help you make it happen, or together you make it happen, that is the biggest blessing in your life. You don't have to share the same values and belief systems. You just have to have loyalty and respect towards one another. That's how you meet people exactly where they are. Because the person that is best fitted for you is going to be different from you. That's how we learn, and that's how we live to be better. So if you have somebody there that supports your vision, embrace it and accept them for who they are. If you have, like me, I can go to Connecticut, I can come here to Florida, I can go to California. I always have a place to stay.
Tennessee.
Tennessee now. When you build relationships that are solid, doesn't mean you all have the same, you agree on all the same shit. No, that's what makes it so much fun, because then we can have intriguing conversations and maybe get a little hyper and light that fire and be like, no, I don't see it like that. And then they'll explain in a certain way that it's like, oh, all right, let me ponder that for a moment. And that's how life is. But if you're so quick to cut someone off because they don't share your same view on something, then you're only cheating yourself out of knowledge. So go gain that wisdom and appreciate the people you meet because you were supposed to meet them. And thank you all for being here today.
Yes, thank you. So listen, part 1, I own. Thursday, we're going to talk further about I own. So bring it on, talk about what you own about yourself. Give it a thought, the good, the bad, and the ugly if necessary. But let's have a conversation and really get it going, as we were doing today. So thanks so much for being here and staying on extra late. And we started 5 minutes late, but it's all good. We started when we were supposed to, and it's the way it is. So thanks so much for being here, and we will see you all back on Thursday. So from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes, Madeline. Yes, you mean in Connecticut when I'm in Connecticut? Absolutely. Yes, mi gente. Thank you, everybody who stayed on later, because it was me. I think I stated that in the morning. Pero no pasa nada. We'll see you all on Thursday. And okay, it's a date, Madeline. And from the Gladiator Guru, remember, breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.